Okay, so this is something that came to me when I was making my last video about the Keychron V1. This is the V1 and the V1 on the desk here. I wanted to do a review on just that keyboard, which I did, and in that review I kind of came to the realization that this is a really great board. This isn't something that should be considered budget. And since I have the premium version of this board, which is the Q1 Pro, I thought I would do just a breakdown here. I want to compare the two side by side, just kind of give you some of my opinions on which is better, which is not, why I would choose one or the other, and if I would choose one over the other, and why. First of all, there are two main differences here. As you can see, the keyboards themselves are almost identical in the layout, but I would say the main differences are the mounting style of the PCB and the overall construction of each keyboard. The V1 is available in plastic. It comes in this translucent black that I have here. There's also a carbon black that's available. And then there is a white V1. Those are the main colors that you can get. These are all on sale right now on Keychron's website, if you didn't know that already. The Q1 comes in a couple of different colors as well. Since the Q1 is aluminum, it does not have a translucent option, but it does have this black option. There's a silver gray, navy blue, which is pretty blue. And then there's a special edition, which for whatever reason is also on sale along with all the other keyboards right now. And they have an orange yellow version. I'm sure Patrick Rambles has that one. There's a champagne gold one. There's a red one. It's like a samurai red. Purple is gone. There's a retro one that really looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a beige, grayish beige. And then there's a green one that's like a light sage green that's also sold out. I'm really impressed with the prices right now. You basically get free shipping if you purchase one of these boards from the Keychron website right now. So if you're looking at one of these boards, I would recommend going after it today. With the construction of the board here, we start from the bottom. That's how we would take it apart. You can see that the Q1 does not have flip out feet, just like the V1 does. That's the main construction difference on the outside. There's these feet here that are a little bit different as well. These are longer feet as opposed to these small little round rubber feet on the bottom. And then there's the Keychron sticker that appears on the V1 that's not on the Q1. Other than that, it's kind of the same. It's got a lot of the same profile. This is just a little bit bigger because this doesn't adjust. But then you can see that there's 8 hex screws that we have to take out in order to take this apart. Once the 8 screws are off, the top case comes off. You got to take this knob off first to get it off, but there we go. It'll come right off. And then that's kind of where you run into a lot of differences. In order to access the PCB on the V1, you then have to take out 12 screws that are on the PCB that are holding it to the case, because this keyboard is mounted to the bottom case here. And here you can see the 12 mounting points on the bottom of the case. And that is where the PCB is screwed in directly to this case. This here is mounted a little bit differently. Once you take off the top, the Q1 has a little cable that connects it to the daughter board, which connects it to the USB port here, and there's also a cable that connects it right here, which is the Bluetooth port, I would say. But since just the way this is constructed, it doesn't really allow for Bluetooth communications to go through. This is where the Bluetooth connection is sent out to the computer. Once you take the top case off of the Q1 Pro, you can basically just flop the PCB out, and then you have full access to the plate and the PCB and everything at that point. Again, you got to take out these 12 screws before you can access any of that. And then once you take out the 12 screws on the plate that are holding it to the case, you can then take out the 6 screws that are holding the PCB to the plate, and then remove the plate and the plate foam that's in between the PCB and the plate there. That's the only way you're able to really get to the back of the PCB. If you want to do the tape mod, you got to take off those 12 screws. You can leave the PCB mounted to the plate and do the tape mod, but you got to take those 12 screws out first. Here, again, all you have to do is take off the top case, and then you'll be able to access the back of the PCB pretty quickly. So as opposed to the V1 being case mounted to the bottom of the case, the Q1 Pro is it has a double gasket design, and it means that it kind of just is sandwiched in between the two pieces of the case once it's together, and that holds it in there. It gives it a little bit of flex. You can see here as I push down, there's flex, flex, flex. Not here. It doesn't happen here. You just push your buttons and that's it. So for those two differences, you're paying about twice as much when you get the Q1. The Q1, if I'm looking right now on the Keychron website, fully assembled with the knob right here is $151.20. And if you were to go with the Keychron V1, which has the exact same layout, it has your knob, and it's fully programmable with QMK VIA, just like the Q1 is. Again, the only difference is really the construction, how it's made and how it's mounted. You're saving half price. The V1 fully assembled in either the translucent, carbon, or shell white is $69. And if you get it fully assembled with the knob, it takes it up to $79. So $79 versus $151. Again, it's pretty much twice the price. Here are some things that I'll say about these two keyboards. The Q1 Pro does not need many modifications. It came out of the box really in great working order, extremely heavy. The switches that you get are a little bit better. You get the Keychron G Pros versus the Keychron switches that you get with the V1. So right off the bat, you get a higher quality switch. The keycaps are essentially the same keycaps. The stabilizers you get are also the same. They're Keychron stabilizers. They're not the best, they're not the worst. They need some modifications. I just prefer to take out the Keychron stabilizers altogether and put in my own stabilizers, or at least clean out the Keychron stabilizers and re-lube them, put in the little bit of tape necessary for the Holy mod, and then I've got a much better stabilizer that I can put back into my keyboard. I just feel like the Keychron stabilizers are really kind of scratchy and rattly and really need work. So there's $25, $30 that you're going to spend on stabilizers. All of my keyboards get their switches lubed, so I don't really care which switches I get. If you give me the Keychrons or the Gatorons, doesn't really matter. Either way, I'm probably going to pop them open and lube them. No matter what, if you get one of these keyboards, definitely get the fully built option. You're basically getting a full set of switches and keycaps for about $15 versus the bare bones price. So even if you don't use them, you've got some extra switches in case something happens with your keyboard. You need to swap those out. And it gives you that full set of keycaps. So if you do decide to sell that keyboard in the future, you've got a full set of switches and keycaps to throw along with that keyboard, which just makes that a little bit more enticing to somebody who's maybe looking for their first keyboard. I did all the same mods to both of these keyboards. I replaced the stabilizers. I did tape mod. The tape that I've been using for my tape mod is gaffer's tape lately. I saw a video by Consumer Tech Review, and he basically just did down the line all these different types of tapes. And you know, now that I think about that, did he even use gaffer's tape? The one that he turned me on to, he turned me on to Gorilla double-sided tape. This is thick, sticky, and poppy, and I do recommend it. The V1 at the bottom has this silicone dampening pad that really adds a lot of heft and girth, strength, and weight to this keyboard. That makes it feel, I mean, it's still much lighter than the Q1, but it definitely gives it a lot of girth when you're picking it up. My conclusion is that if you just want to buy a keyboard and be done with it, get the Q1. It's going to work great. It's going to have everything you need, and you're going to be really happy with it. I did do modifications. I did change some things around, but it's because I wanted to, not because I needed to. If you want to be more interactive with your keyboard, get the V1. You're going to have a lot more spending money to change out your keycaps and your switches. Spend that extra money on some stabilizers. You can kind of choose what you want to spend your money on. If it were me, I would get the fully built V1. Buy myself some $30, buy myself some $20 stabilizers, and I would buy myself some $40 keycaps, and I would make that keyboard my own and just lube up those switches. Luckily, I do have some extra switches that I could pop out for as I want to. If you're looking for something to mod and have fun with, pick up one of the V series. I'm trying to get my hands on a V5, which is the 1800 layout. I've never used an 1800 layout before, and I think that would be a fun one to play with, mod, build, and get to somebody who wants a full-size keyboard. So I think that's going to be my next one to build and play with. I don't have the same keycaps on these two keyboards right now, but I'm going to put the same profile on here so that I can do a good sound test and do a back and forth and show you the different sounds between this keyboard and this keyboard. Might need to change the switches too. I've got these Poppy Quins on here and these lubed Keychron black and milky white tops. But yeah, that's my recommendation. If you've got the money and not the time, get the Q. If you've got the time and you want to mess with your keyboard and build it and play with it, get the V. I'd get that V in white today. Then if I were to get the Q again, these special edition ones, man, I'd get that retro. That is something else. I want those keycaps. That silver. Look at that retro one. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Again, stick around for the sound test. I'm gonna just type away with some of these keyboards and let you listen to that. If you have any questions or comments, you know where to leave those. If you want me to make any modifications, and if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. Be happy to take some requests and put some content out there for you all to consume. Thanks again. Happy holidays. See you soon.